Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming tonight. This is our Patreon. This is our August 2021 live session. I'd love to welcome here live. We have Mary, Alison, Caroline, Ethna, Francis, Jane, Lisa, Sue, and Susan. And for those of you who are off on your holes and your holidays at the moment, I hope you're having a great time. And when you watch this replay, I hope you get the answers that you are after. I'm going to go through a few little bits and bobs. Then I'm going to do a couple of tech questions. Then we're going to look at some pedal stuff, and then we're going to talk about dates and courses. So I hope that's all right. But obviously, if you're here live, chip in, feel free to unmute. We're a small group tonight, so feel free to unmute. Remember, if you ask a question while I'm mid-flow that's related, you know, it might just help make clarity for everybody. So it's always useful, or you can type in the chat like normal as well. Okay, so without further ado, there's just a couple of things I need to say. First of all, number one, Mary and anybody else who fell into this trap, apologies if you tried to come to a Zoom meeting on Monday, the 30th of August. I'm not sure how many of you got fallen into that trap, but somehow I managed to send the Zoom link out for yesterday and not today. But hopefully, I think most of you, well, anyway, I'm very sorry to those of you who that inconvenienced. Second of all, and this is just because I'm so excited, my third CD is ready. This is a fake mock-up of it, but I just had to share that with you too. Third, I wanted to say that the missing play along videos are finally on their way. So I'm working on those now and getting them up, which I'm very pleased about and relieved about. And I also wanted to check with you, perhaps you can give me a thumbs up. Did you get your discount codes on Patreon? Can you just confirm to me if you got those? Did you get an email with them through? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, thank you. Oh, Caroline, you're being very techie today with your... Caroline just did like a little wave with the computer. That was brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So in which case, I'm going to jump in, Caroline, if it's okay, to your Tufe question, as you are here live. And then you can ask me anything. I'll start just talking about it, and then if I miss or you want anything clarified or you want to demo for us, then you can. So Caroline asked me to do a little sort of review, I think you sort of said, or something, on a Tufe and any hints and tips that I might have. So I've been thinking about this. I thought I would say, Caroline, to remind you that the Technique Booster course you've got access to, so you can go in and check there. And Flourishing Harpist, you've also got access to the Damping Week, so you can also go in, dip into those. But I was thinking about what are the main pitfalls when we're doing a Tufe. So I thought I'd go through those, and then if any of them strike a chord, then we can talk about those specifically. When we're working with a Tufe in the left hand, with muffling in the left hand, we might be doing just thumb, mightn't we? Or we might be doing a whole the octave one as well. So this version. You can use it in different ways. You can use it so that you are kind of doing it carefully and tidily to just almost make it legato, but with a clean sound. You can use it so you get staccato, even with the zzz, or you might really use it really hard to get a percussive effect too. You even see people slam their thumbs down. In fact, it turns out that I do it. I discovered recently in my playing to kind of really make sort of an Tufe buzz damp note thing, isn't it, as well? But Caroline, the main things that I see when people are finding this, that it's not working, one of the things is just simply that the hand's not going down flat enough. Okay, so if it's not cleaning up, if you're doing a whole scale and you're not clearing up your sound, or maybe you're coming up and nothing's getting damped, then it's usually just because the hand's not physically making enough contact. If it's really buzzy on the other strings when you're coming up, for instance, again, if you're, I'm not sure if mixed buzz, let's try that here. Yeah. If you're coming up and you're getting buzzes like that, it may be that you are making good contact, but you are doing it slowly. That commitment thing we've talked about with single notes, when you do the hover, and then we have to think of the land being really, really quick and precise, because if we come in slowly, we buzz. My amp's not really loud enough. I might turn it up in a minute, but I don't hear you here better. So again, the same with the Tufe. We need to be very committed when hover and then go in and absolutely firmly land. So yeah, how much, whether you're actually connecting, whether you're connecting at speed. The other one that I see a lot, and some of you might have done this, I certainly have, is that you go to do a Tufe thumb and you go to damp, and instead out comes out a harmonic, and you think, I can't do harmonics when I want to, and now I'm doing them when I want to damp. That can be a thing as well. Caroline, if that's something that's happening to you, check the angle of your hand, but also if you think when we're doing harmonics, we're trying to keep a curve shape, aren't we? To keep this gap here. So almost like a curly cur shape, isn't it? Well, it doesn't look like that at all with my thumb. I'm not managing to show this, but we're trying to use like the base of our hand or our thumb, whichever part of the hand you decided or been told to use. It doesn't matter. So you're creating your stopper. If there's a gap when you're doing your étouffée again, then quite often, you know, you might make contact at the bottom and at the top, and that will make the harmonic, or you're just not lifting up away from the string in between. So you might be going to play it, well, I suppose it would be a combination of both, but you need to make sure that as you come that you actually, when you play the note, you are coming away as well, to avoid the contact in between. Anything else? Oh, the other thing I thought I'd mention was tension in hand. People often talk about when they're doing étouffée. Have any of you ever experienced this? You know, you practice, you're dutifully doing something with lots of octaves in the bass, and suddenly your hand, you know, the tendons down here might be uncomfortable or something like that. Keep your hand quite relaxed, I think, is a big part of this. You know, try and allow some fluidity in your hand so that you're not rigid, you know. And actually, Pamela, who's not here, your question about playing shapes with octaves and thirds, one of the big things with that again is keeping the relaxation in your hand going, even against all the odds. You know, I think when we're doing étouffées, if it's a fixed octave or something like that we're working with, then, you know, very often I will think, right, I'm locking my hand into that specific position so that I can almost drag the fourth finger along like a ball and chain at the right distance, and that can make me stay very tense. So I have to remember then to keep that sort of relaxation going. And again, this is taught very differently how you should do your relaxation, but you know, I just try and think of it switching off my muscles in between, and you know, that can become very flamboyant if you've got time, or it might be just, you know, that you're just trying to not constantly be rigid. You're just trying to, you know, if you hold your hand out in front if you want, so you can all see, or not, but you know, if you hold it very, very, very tight and then try and let go of everything, my hand hardly changes position, does it? That's really tight, everything's really tight, and now I've relaxed it. It has changed position, but you know, what I'm trying to say is that you can do that with quite micro movements. You don't have to do really big gestures unless you want to, for musical reasons or for the look of it. Last thing, I just thought of one other thing I'd say, Caroline, am I going to check in with you? Sometimes the coming up one, so if you were doing octaves coming up, I almost think of it, I don't know whether other people describe it like this at all. I can't really think of how I've heard it described. If you played an F, for instance, and you wanted to damp it to go to the G, you have got to be able to land on the G's, but you still got to pass by the note you want to damp. And I think of it as just a very slight, like you're patting the dog, aren't you, when you make the étouffée, if you like, you're patting the strings and you're just slightly stroking the dog on the way by, you know, to get, when you're doing that, so you're landing on the octave to play the F, and then you're going to come back down, slightly overshoot for the G, if you like, to land on the F, and then I just give it a gentle stroke to get on the way by. You can get string sound with that, so you can play, you know, it depends again, if it's something very soft and silent, you'd play around with it differently, I suppose, but that's certainly something that I would do. And on the way down, I angle my, you know, I might, you have to think about how your hand's shaped, and you want the fleshy part of your thumb to damp the previous string. So again, it's about the angle for you. Many of you have heard me talk about the clock face. So the idea that I would, if you think of the strings on the harp being like midnight to 6, I'd point my fingers up at about 10 o'clock and then come down the harp or up the harp. But I've actually, Caroline, just because I actually had 10 minutes today to think about this, I found a photograph in one of the books I really rate, and actually it shows it straight, which is different from, I angle my hand up more. And it's just, you know, what matters, Caroline, is you find something that works for you. In fact, Alison, was it you who talked to me about this? I can't remember, about the fact that we found we had to angle your hand quite differently. Somebody I worked with last year told me, yeah. And so it depends on our hand shape, and it's really fine. You know, we have to work with, you know, we listen to ideas and then work with you know, the position that works for our hand. So Caroline, I'm going to come and check. Oh, I think Jill might have been waving at me, but I just check in with Caroline if I may first. Oh, you were, okay. Oh, you were tightening, and you were practicing air harping. I very like it. Caroline, do you want to just come on and chat to me so I can see if that helps, and if there's anything else you want to go over, or if you wanted the right hand ones, and I've just talked about left hand ones.
Yes, it was left hand ones that I was trying to do, and well, one of the things I couldn't remember was which part of your hand it was to have on the strings. So
okay,
it's sort of like the ball of your thumb, I think, is what you're saying.
Are you doing étouffée thumbs, or are you doing étouffée octaves?
What I'm trying to do is a stride bass, so coming up and then back down.
Okay, if you haven't got a harp there to show me what you mean, have you?
Not very easily, no.
Okay, so I mean, are you trying
So
to
I think I was playing down the bottom of the harp, D, F, A, C, I think.
Okay,
and then C, B, A, F, or something like that.
So,
and I could kind of do it okay for a few notes, and then I found that I was starting to sort of buzz. My hand was, probably like you say, not committing enough, and keeping it right the whole time.
Okay, so sometimes when you're doing something that close, sorry, that it's not neighbouring notes you're talking about there. You're talking about going up in thirds, aren't you?
Yes.
I've seen people try and like bring their hand in like this. And actually, if you think about it, if you just carry on using your whole hand like you would for an ordinary damp, at least I'm pretty sure this is what I do. It doesn't matter if bits of your fingers stick out the end that you're not using. Do you know what I mean? So I would try and keep that still just using my hand just as flat, even though
yes, which is what I was trying to do.
Fine, great. So yeah, definitely. This is what I sometimes see people trying to do when they're doing those, is to turn the hand up with like tulip sort of shape. And then coming down, you said you were doing those are neighbouring notes with a third then. So I noticed when I tried to do that one, I kept my hand exactly in the position that I talked to you about me liking, and this is a me thing, and you need to experiment. But then at the last moment, I twisted my hand position in order that the fleshy part of my thumb was more available to damp when I did the interval of the third. So coming down, I'm normal damp position for me, normal damp position, and then a subtle movement to twist this way, so that my thumb, this bit of my thumb sticks out more. So I suppose it was like lazy me. Oh, I have to do a bit more work for this one, in a way. So keeping it all in one position and then switching it just when I had to, because of course I could actually do them all like that, couldn't I, guys? But that's not so comfortable for my hand, Caroline. So it's that whole, minimal effort for greatest reward. Sometimes we have to make a lot of effort for the reward we want, but if we can do it with a minimal effort, I would suggest keeping it quite easy the rest of the time. I wish I could see your hand doing this, Caroline. If you feel it getting your heart and coming on later.
I think yes, well, what you said there is actually perhaps doing it a bit different coming back down than how you're doing it going up.
Yes.
Which I can't quite remember, but yes, I think it has been when I then started coming back down again that it started to go a bit fluffy.
Well, if it's just your thumb on the way up, if you think about it, your fingers are doing all the damp, aren't
yes
but when down, it's this bit which you mentioned a minute ago, didn't you? Actually, it's this part that you need to be able to
yes
these actually cease to be any importance, but actually I notice I keep mine in the same position anyway, probably actually because it's tidying up. If you remember that whole thing of the bass all vibrates all the time anyway, so if you keep everything else damping, you're kind of tidying up your whole sound. But yeah, if it's going down, just see if you need to just angle your hand very slightly differently on the way down. And as I'm saying that, Caroline, I'm wondering if some teachers would tell you to always have your etouffee hand so that your base of your thumb would hit, which may be why the straighter angle might be preferred. But I go for this one because it's the most comfortable position for my muscles and body and hand. So yeah. Oh, well, have a play around with that. And if you were buzzing, I suspect it was a commitment thing.
Yes, so a bit of both of those things, I think, at what angle I had my hands. And then the trouble is, once it's sort of buzzed once, then you're going, oh god, it's buzzing now,
and your shoulder is chatting, isn't it?
I'm thinking, what am I doing? So
okay
the
one okay. And I'm just thinking about how you might practice this. Then you could you could obviously very slow, of course, which was more likely to make buzzing. But what you can do is you can do a playing and then a slow hover, and a hover, get really lined up, and then a fast on. So you're still practicing the actual damp itself fast, but your preparation you can take all the time in the world for, just till you get used to it. You could also practice doing them quickly, even if you're not after that sound, that particular short sound. That will just help your focus, won't it, for landing fast as well. That might be a good way of eliminating hesitating buzzes. I'm just wondering other things. I mean, the other thing to do is to practice things like, practice the scale of them, so that you're practicing and then practice them in an, you could practice your whole arpeggios like it. in your inversions. Whoops, I messed up inversion up. I probably get that one. So that you're practicing the thirds as well. And actually, I did the interval of the fourth, but I had to angle my hand even more for the fourth, didn't I? Which more and more is making me think that the photograph I saw of the flat hand, and that's why. But yeah, so you could do some arpeggio practice as well, just so that you're working these out away from the piece. There's that whole thing of being distracted, isn't it, by the music and the rhythm. So that might be worth a try too.
Yes, yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, food for thought.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And the right hand ones are quite different, but you're not after right hand ones. So
no, it was left hand
today.
I'll ask you that on another Q&A.
Okay. No problem. Okay.
When I've mastered the left hand.
Okay.
I'm really trying to remember some of all those other different ways of damping, but it was the étouffée hand.
The étouffée hand that was particularly
I've been trying to do, yeah.
Brilliant. But it makes a very cool bass line, doesn't it? So
yes, yeah, definitely. Yes, and again, I'd forgotten, that you can make different sounds with it. I've been very lazy, really. I was thinking, I could go back to my to your videos in the Flourishing Harpist, but then as you were asking for questions, I thought, well, I'll ask. I'm sure it's all in there somewhere, but yeah, that's right. That you actually can make different sounds with it. It's not just kind of one.
Yeah, I mean, in just play. I mean, you could watch my, 3 days worth of videos from me about it, or you could just experiment, with, once you get the first one sorted or whatever comes out sorted, just say, right, can I make it longer? Can I make it shorter? Can I make it more percussive? And you'll work it out, anyway, won't you? So yeah, once you've got that sorted. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you.
Yes, and it's also thinking, in a way, it's sort of not right or wrong, that you can actually decide to make it sound like that if that's the sound you want. It's not that it has to sound like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally true. I mean, things like, I'm thinking immediately of things like Grounds or Pachelbel's Canon, or things like that, that have bass lines. You could, obviously stylistically you'd be expected to play them in a certain way, but as soon as if you start damping them and making them short, of course you completely change the whole feel of a piece as well. So you can, if you want to, use it to really change a piece completely by adding damps as well. So it's a great way of colouring our music. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Has that brought up anything for anyone else that they'd like to ask before I move on to something slightly different? Thank you, Caroline. I'm just going to check. I can't see everyone's faces right now. Anybody waving at me? Anything? No. Okay, fine. Okay, brilliant. Okay. The second thing, Pamela, this is for you. I know Pamela's not here, so hopefully this will be useful for some of you anyway. Sorry, not Caroline. I'm sorry, I've just spoken to you. Pamela asked me about Serenvach, which is one of the pieces I gave out on Patreon a little while ago. And Pamela, you mentioned that that when you got to playing this bit here, the bit when you end up with thirds and octaves, that I think you were finding it a little challenging in various ways. And I swapped them. If you notice that, to start with in the piece, you get them where you get the third and the octave. So arguably you could call this a 1-3-8, couldn't you, going up? And then you get it the other way, where the third is on the top or the triad is on the top, whatever you want to call it. And so you're switching as well. So first of all, I know I mentioned this already with the étouffée. One of the things that can happen when we are playing the same shape on repetition like this is that our hand can lock. Do any of you get this? I mean, I certainly do if I'm not careful. Yeah, okay, Francis is nodding anyway. I can see you, Francis. Hi. So your hand can get kind of crampy, or maybe achy down here, or you might get an ache in your wrist or even in your shoulder. So the first thing, Pamela, I would just say is that really check in on everything that you're doing. Think of our zombie harp talks that we've had. Are your shoulders relaxed? Are you sitting? Is your spine neutral? Is your back? Are you in a really good sitting position? Because very often, particularly if we're working away at something, Caroline, like with the bass line we just talked about, you might find that you've then sort of hunched round and your arms doing this, and actually it can some of the challenges then sort of seem to spring from the way that we're sitting or holding our muscles elsewhere. But yeah, and then and of course check in on your arm itself. This is really hard, I know, on your fingers and hands, because very often I remember endless harp lessons where teachers would kind of say to me, Jean's just arriving, so I'm just going to let her in, where harp teachers would say to me, and relax, you know, so you're doing something like, now relax, and really fast and strictly, now relax, and you're like, ah, that's made me less relaxed. So, you know, it's all very well for me to say, relax, how are you going to do that? And I think, you know, we have to do some self-exploring in a way to work out how our hand, what we need to do to get our hands to relax. But you know, I talked earlier about the idea of if I hold my hand out in front of you now and I hold everything as tight as possible like this, and then I let it go, the hand position doesn't change much. If I go onto one of these shapes, I'll come off the screen share in a minute. I don't really need it up. If I hold onto one of these shapes very, very tightly with all my fingers, and then I barely use any muscle control at all, my hand doesn't really look any different, but I'm now using minimal effort for this, aren't I? So sometimes if you're finding that something, you feel like you're tight on your strings or you're getting an ache, you know, maybe just do a couple of checks and you say, right, hold it tight, relax everything, hold it tight, relax everything. Don't do it loads because that could obviously cause problems too. But I think that's certainly for me, that helps me sort of realize where I'm holding the tension. And then the other biggest thing, let me come off this so you can see my hand. The other thing that we find, does anybody get one of these? Does anybody get a bunny ear? Yeah, okay. So this, I mean, and I know I do. I watch back videos of myself playing like, oh, the bunny ears are still there. And this is totally, for me anyway, it's a sign of tension. It's when I'm my tendon, I've allowed something to stay tight in my hand. So think about relaxing that as well when you are playing. And then, you know, you could practice a whole scale of them. I know this is very similar to what I talked about with Caroline today, but I'm afraid that, you know, scales of things are always going to be good. And you can think about that: hover, land, landing with very little, absolute minimal pressure, squeeze, play, and relax. That's a good way of practicing these shapes. The other thing I'd say is remind your hand that it's not a big space, just play the octaves. So this is kind of brain tricking now, but, you know, look at the music. If you're finding a shape awkward, some of us find the first inversion shape, don't we? A slightly awkward chord, for instance. Remind your hand that it's not a difficult space, because sometimes I think that it helps me just play the octave, the outside octave, and my hand goes, oh, actually, okay, you're not really making me do something really hard. I just, for some reason, think it is. And then, you know, so remind yourself whilst looking at the music that the shape isn't too big, and then maybe just play the thirds with 4 and 3 as well. So you are practicing just that bit. What I would say is if you're doing that, try not to let the thumb then come in close, which is sort of instinctive, because I often talk about that kind of being opposite the hand. But try and keep the spacing out there. But what you're doing then is you're just checking in on your technique and how your fingers are moving. Do the top 2 as well. So you're only doing the 6, but again, hover out the 4 when you're doing it. And all these different things are going to allow you the time, and play them slowly. That was way too fast, wasn't it? Is also good to play them slowly. But yeah, all these things will allow you to check in on whether 2's being tight, and if you're doing the other way around, whether 3 is tight. What other things? Check that you're bending from the 4, from the second joint as well, because, you know, if you start getting into pointing with the 4, it's really hard to close in on those as well. Doing them as arpeggios as well. You know, practicing them like that, they sound pretty actually, don't they? So, you know, you can practice them like that as well, so that you're not putting constant strain on that shape. And then Start Harp 1, anyone who's done Start Harp 1, you know that one of the first things I get you to do with any interval, with like the third and stuff, is to practice playing it all over your harp with your eyes shut. So that you just get used to finding it. Well, you know, with any shape, if you're finding it slightly uncomfortable, just practice bouncing around on the instrument on that shape, because it seems to, I don't know, it just seems to work. It seems to, I don't know, trick our brains or get our bodies used to it in different ways. So that's a really good one too. So Pamela, I've mentioned some exercises you can try. I've mentioned I mentioned a couple of things to watch out for, like the bunny ears and the bend here. Oh, there's one last thing actually before I move on, which is brushing thumbs. Actually, some of you, has anybody had this happen? You try to play something like this and you go, yeah, Lisa's nodding. Yeah, so you try and play a chord and you get like that instead. So if that's happening, I've mentioned the bending 4, but also check the back thumb is bowing away from the string at the top. The wider the stretch, the easier it is to do that little sort of slide thing. So just check that you are doing the bow. So again, if that's happening, you could just put your hand on the shape and just practice the thumb on its own, so that the thumb, you're reminding your thumb of where you want it to go, and then add the rest of the shape back in, so that you are, you know, consciously practicing that one thing. This is that whole idea that we always come back to, of stripping things back, isn't it, to make the thing that we're finding hard, kind of isolating the thing that isn't going so well for us, making that into an exercise so that it's a painfully easy exercise for you, and then you can start adding in everything else again, and then hopefully then it works. So Pamela, yeah, sorry, I did, I've talked about some exercises you can do, I've talked about some pinch points, and I've talked about some eyes closed practice. I think, you know, the final thing I wanted to say, let me just bring the music back up. Hello, Jean, by the way, welcome. The final thing I wanted to say was that if you look at the music here, whenever a shape comes up like this, you know, feel free to simplify, certainly my music, you know, it's absolutely fine. So if you see, you know, and if something's uncomfortable for you, you know, think about it. Which is the note that you feel is needed the most? You know, quite often it's the top note is the melody note, and you'd know that from earlier on in the piece if you played it a few times. So you could just take out the melody note, or you could take out the sixth from the top there. So this is bar, which am I talking about? Bar 41, 2, 3, 4, bar 41. You could just do, rather than going rather than doing that, you could take the sixth instead. Does it lose much? Not really, okay? You probably could do it, I think if you did the thirds, it's actually rather nice. It does lose the tune, so I probably wouldn't recommend that. Or you could take octaves. You know, and it's much nicer to play something, isn't it, with the phrasing in, than not all the notes, and it is to play all the notes and no phrasing. And the same at bar 45, Pamela, you could take it out and do the thirds here instead of the octaves with the thirds. You could do it like that as well. I think your question really was that you wanted to put them in, so try those tricks, but please always remember, simplify. You know, as I say, that you all know, you guys, you know, that it's just so much more powerful to communicate through phrasing and singing through the instrument and making a beautiful melody than it is to play hundreds of notes. And so remember that too. Brilliant. Has that brought up anything for anyone that's here before we move along to our next thing? No. Okay, everyone's very quiet tonight. It's really nice to see you all. Okay, so in which case, Lisa, I shall come to your question. So Lisa asked me a question about pedals, didn't you? And I have got it in front of me. I could remind myself, or I can try and paraphrase this. So I think one of the things you said, yeah, can you talk a bit about effects pedals? Can it be done on a folk cup or only on electric? Are loopers the same as effects pedals or different? Thanks. So first of all, Lisa, I wanted to remind you that you have access to Pop with Pizzazz, and there are some videos in there that might be useful to look at. So I'll show you where those are in a sec. The first thing I wanted to say about this was that absolutely you can use pedals with any instrument, but you have to get your, with any instrument actually, but you have to get your kit first. So you couldn't just buy a pedal and a non-electric harp and use them as a traditional pedal. I actually think you probably can through apps, and somebody who's here who uses apps might like to talk about that. But you say you need your setup, you need your pickup or your microphone pickup strip, whatever it's going to be, and a speaker and some cables as well. So what I thought I'd just very briefly show you, if I can. I think I opened up the page. I have a habit of opening up pages and then shutting them just before our session, but let's see if I've got it open. I think I have. It's going to share Facebook, but that's okay. I think we're on our page anyway, so don't read my private messages. Okay, so okay, there we are. So here I've talked about it very briefly, Lisa. So this is in Pop with Pizzazz, and I've just said that you need an electric harp or a harp with a transducer, which is a microphone or soundboard pickup, and then an amplifier, leads, power supply, and the pedals. And Lisa, I'll show you the one that I use for my harp. And this may be not what you were really asking me, because I think you know this already, but just in case. So I have one of these style strips that I put inside my acoustic instruments, and then it attaches into a little preamp, which is this one here. And then it has, on this one, it has a 3-pin, which is the XLR contact one. When I first had things like XLR and 1/4-inch jack, it completely, I felt like I'd swum into some territory that I knew nothing about, but actually there's only 2 types of cables. So this is one of them. This one has 3 pins and the other one has 1. And then Lisa, that then attaches through to the amp. and you can in between then put the pedals. So you can use it for any instrument. So Lisa, if you are thinking of delving into this world, you can. And then your second part of that question was, is the looper the same as, or is it, I mean, it's a pedal. So, I mean, I don't know. I think broadly speaking, a pedal is just going to be anything that we can operate with our foot, isn't it? But my particular loop pedal has effects on it, and I thought I'm going to share with you this, because this is what Lisa's seen, and then you can tell me what it is you wanted to see about it. So there's that, and then later on you get. So there's another effect in there, isn't there, Lisa? So that one was actually a shimmer effect. So that's, you know, it's taken the sound and then it's just added loads of delay and an extra sort of sparkle and glitz to it, if you like. I don't know, I'm not a techie geek. What I would say is about any of these pedals, Lisa, if you get into this world, find the pedal, you know, talk to people. If you like, if you say you like that sound, you could say to me, Shelley, which pedal did you use to get that sort of shimmery, sort of sparkly effect? I think I heard Edmar use it once in a concert in Edinburgh, Jill. And I think I went up to him and said, how did you make that? And he showed me the pedal. I went out and bought one. So, you know, if you hear somebody make a sound you like, go and ask what it is, take a photo or write it down, and then go to a guitar shop with your harp, if you can possibly be allowed to at the moment, or bear to, and try it as well, because they always let you, they're quite excited. They're used to guitarists going in and trying all their pedals. If you rock up with a harp and say, can I try a pedal, they can get very excited. So try it out then and see if you like it as well. There's always somebody who's going to try and sell you a cheaper one that does the same thing. So again, I come back to, if you've heard somebody play with a sound you like, and if it's possibly within the bracket of what you can afford, you know, everyone, it's a bit, I don't know how to explain this best, but I'm sure you all know this. It's like this feeling in life when you someone will try and explain to you that something that they know about like better, but if something that you heard you like, then that's probably what you need, you know. So just be wary of that. And what was I going to say about the pedals again, one more thing. Yeah, so go and try them, find out about them, and then watch a YouTube video. There will be somebody, either the company itself or a 14-year-old boy in his back bedroom, who will tell you everything you need to know on YouTube about the pedal at great length. And I can't do that, I'm afraid, Lisa. I can literally tell you how I plug it in and what settings I use to get the sound that I like. And I do that by watching YouTube videos of people explaining and then fiddling around until it works for me. This isn't what you asked me, but I can't help but say it. One of the things that I really notice is that each venue you go into, if you use these pedals in different rooms and different spaces, you have to reset them very often to get the sound that you want. So it's not, for me, I've never experienced it as a one setting will suit anywhere I go. Maybe I'm missing something, but just be wary of that too. So yeah, Lisa, I've got some pedals down here. I don't know whether that's sort of answered what you needed, what you wanted to know, whether you want to ask me any more. Do you want to unmute and let me know?
No, I know it's a big world, and eventually I think I'll get into it, but I just wanted to know if it worked on little folky,
Yeah.
or I needed an electric. And yeah, the YouTube videos are probably a wormhole.
They are totally a wormhole, and yeah, it's a dangerous world in a way, but yeah. So well, the answer is it does work on your harp, but you would have to get the amp and the strip and the leads as well. So it is one of those things, if you can beg, borrow, steal to start with, to try, it's a really good thing. You know, if you've got anybody who plays the guitar who might be, you know, going away for a weekend, and you could say, can I borrow some of your kit while you're away or whatever, then, you know, try out if you possibly can, before you buy, because then you're not having to spend lots and lots and lots straight away. And the final thing I'd say on this, if you do go into this territory, explore, Lisa, the amplifiers, again, by trying them, because there are very different ones out there, and you can get things that only cost like £30 or you can spend £3,000 on an amplifier. And again, it's not always, you know, pay the most money and get the best, because we're on harps and often they've been made for other types of instruments. So it's really worth, again, just talking to people, listening to people whose sound that you like, you personally, and trying them out when you can as well. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for the question. Does
welcome.
anybody else, has that brought up anything for anyone else? Jean is waving at me. Hi, Jean. Please feel free to unmute.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi, nice to see you again.
Oh, nice to see you too, and everyone else. I just wanted to say I know very, very little about amplification, but I would say that people that I respect are speaking highly of both Dusty Strings and Reese Harps as being people that know a lot about pickups and
Great.
cables. Reese has a whole section on their website about using the correct cable that doesn't lose the sound between the harp and the amplifier.
Yes, this is a big deal. I had a real problem with this. Yes, because the signal dropped. The signal was too low, and then when it went through the different pedals down the row, it just completely went out, and I had to get new cables. So that's a really if there's people out there now talking about it, that's good.
That's the suggestion I have is I would check both Dusty and Reese and see what they have to say.
Lovely, thank you, brilliant. And in the UK we have AccuSound, who are always it was AccuSound who helped me out with the problem I had with the signaling coming out through the harp too low, so that what was happening was that I just couldn't get the loop level up high enough, and so I had to get this, I don't know what, a cable that kind of makes the sound bigger in some way. I should be being more academic about this for you. I can check out, it wasn't that complicated, I've just forgotten. Yeah, so that's brilliant. So Jean, yeah, and as I say, in the UK, AccuSound are very good on that too. Brilliant. Somebody else waved at me then. Susan, hi, let me bring you on.
Hi. I just wanted to tell Lisa too that I have a Fishman mini amplifier and it's very good. So it's not really expensive. It's not really too big, but it's a very nice amplifier and you can get different sound effects from it too, chorus and reverb and things like that. So she might be interested in that.
Yeah, which I have a Fishman I've got as well, and I like the Fishman I've got. Is it a cube one or is it a tall one? Or
No, it's a cube one, a small
brilliant,
cube one.
lovely. I'd love to know the model number, Susan, if you're willing to put it somewhere.
Yeah, just give me a minute and I'll go.
Yeah, cool.
Check
That's great. Thank you. And the one that I've recently found, I can't remember. It's in the pop course actually. So is it a Shure one? I bought a new amplifier that nobody recommended to me, and I got lucky. It's a really nice one. I got it because it had 5 hours of battery power on it. Actually, no, they did get recommended it. It was by another harpist, come to think of it. Okay, and I can share that with you. It's in the pop course, or I can I can get it out the bag in a minute and have a look for you. Let me just go into the pop course once before I move on. So if you I'm running this again this term anyway, Lisa, so you'll get bombarded with emails about this course anyway. But there's in week 1 there's harp and electrics, the basic terminology, so just talking about all the different types of bits and bobs you might need. And there's the kit party, so there'll be another live kit party where you can see everyone's kit as well. And then there's the getting started with your sound, where I talk about volume and gain in that video, and how to pick the sort of sound that you want if you go into this. Then there's also setting up your pedals and the daisy chain, so that's when you're working on getting more than one pedal going at the same time. I'm just going to let Kate in, she's just arriving. Then there is harps and electrics pedal power, where I actually go through a worksheet I made for a harp festival at some point. I show you some of my favorite ones. There's the looper, the whammy, which is really fun, the reverb, which is the one you heard at the end of that little clip I showed you, and then the distortion, which you hear in Paint It Black in that same concert. So that's why I to go into those. And then what else do I do? Looper foundations. Trying out the Looper app on a smartphone is going to be recorded this term, because that's one of the very few videos that can get done. Then we go, I think there's another one, yeah, layering loops on pedals, and then I think escaping loops. So if for any, so Lisa, if you do go down this, remember you have access, you're going to have access to this course for ages. So if 6 months time you go, oh, actually, I am going to get a loop pedal, go back into the course and find those videos. They'll work on their own if you pick them out. So yeah, brilliant, fantastic. Okay, brilliant. Anyway, anybody else want to add to that before I move on? Yeah, Susan. Oh, you've got the model number. Brilliant. Thank you. Right.
I don't have the model number because all it says is the Fishman Mini Loud Box.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay, let's write it down. Right. Okay, this is literally Fishman Mini Loud Box.
Loud Box.
That's a good name, isn't it? Okay. Right, okay, cool, thank you. Well, anyone can check that out. I'm sure I got the impression Etna's already looking on Amazon. Maybe wrong. Somebody here is, I can tell. I've just completed. Oh, your hedgehogs arrived, Lisa. So this is something I'm going to talk about at the end. Okay, anyway, right, okay, thank you very much, Susan. I will take your spotlight. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, marvelous. Right, Kate, welcome. Lovely to see you as well. It seems ages since I've seen all your wonderful faces, so thank you for coming. Right, I've lost my list, but it's not far. It's hiding behind all these different things I've now opened up. Right, okay. I think we're getting to Ethna's question probably. So I've done the tech one, I've done the finger technique one. Yeah, so actually it is, I am now into this. Because I'm sure you're all rather bored of my voice for a moment, I would love to hear. Lisa's like, no, it's like, no, I suppose I would like a little tiny breather. So I'm going to ask you guys if you would be willing to. I'd love to hear a harp high from the summer, because there's been all these festivals. You might have been to a harp festival. You might have been to. There's been loads more workshops online again. You might have been in a real gig. You might have heard a real gig. You might have played a real gig. Susan might have done her Zoom session that we were talking about last time, and I'd love to hear about that. Yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody, just like, yeah, what your summer thing has been. I shall tell you mine. I did in Somerset. I did a workshop. Did one of Edmar's workshop, and he showed us at the end a trick. I'm not sure if I can remember how to show you. Yeah. He discovered you could do multiple harmonics at a time if you use your hand to touch the strings, and then come on, there we go, it worked. Did you hear that? That was a chord of harmonics. That's my harp highlight of the summer, is the fact that I learned to do that. So there we are. So has anybody else got a highlight from the summer that they'd be willing to share? Or shall I come on? Let's go on from everyone. Let's go on from everyone. Francis is like, no. Okay, well, Francis, you had a musical highlight yesterday.
Did I? I can't remember.
You saw Mary and you made music.
Oh no, it wasn't yesterday. That's why I was confused.
Oh, I see. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was about 2 weeks ago. So.
Oh, okay. Oh,
31st of July.
it was ages ago. It was a month ago then. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh well, Francis, maybe we can make some harp highs then for September instead. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Sue, would you like to? Have you got any harp high of the summer?
Oh, I've just been working at my left hand, but I suppose my big high was I've bought a smaller harp, so I now have an upstairs harp and a downstairs harp.
Wonderful. How exciting. Yes, bravo. Oh, brilliant. That's a very good high. Thank you. Susan, have you got a harp high from the summer?
Well, I guess it was the doing that concert on Zoom, which was good. I went to Somerset also, which was wonderful. You were fantastic in your concert. It was just wonderful to watch you play. And that went very well. The only thing that was a little bit different for me is while I was playing, the director muted all the voices and also their faces. So I played for 45 minutes or so with just myself.
Oh.
But at the end, I got to talk and see the people.
Okay.
But during the concert, it was like, okay, I'm here and I'm doing all this, and I was talking to them and everything else, but
yeah,
I didn't get any reaction. And
weird,
if I ever did it again, I'd like to see them, But that was a high thing. And I also have planned a little tea for some of my friends this month, and they're going to be coming to my house, and we're going to have a little concert there. So
that would be really nice.
I did have 2 other gigs planned, but the virus has reared its head again, so they stopped. So now it's canceled until October. Okay. But that's okay. But do the best we can.
Yeah, of course. Oh well, it's great you're going to have a mini concert in your house, but it sounds very exciting that the Zoom went well, and it's nice that because next time you can say, I'd like to see everyone, please, and so we can only find these things out, can't we, by trying it. I mean, doing Facebook Live things is very strange, because you might have lots of people there but you can't see them, so it's the same thing, whereas obviously here I get to see your friendly faces, so I completely understand what you mean by that. Yeah. But you got to interact at the end though, so that's great too.
Yes. I mean, she introduced me, and then all of a sudden she says, okay, now we're going to stop the video, and no one will, just their names were there. And she said, just go on. And the other good thing about it was for a senior center, and they put it on a loop and they play it there.
Oh, lovely.
And they play it on their webpage. So they got a lot out of that 1 hour.
Yes, I hear you. But that's great though, because they've got this gift now from you forever as well, which is marvelous, isn't it? Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you. Well, that's a great harp highlight. Fabulous. Thank you for sharing. Brilliant. Lisa, would you like to share a harp highlight of the summer, and then I come to Ethna?
I've just been to a lot of the festivals and it's been so nice. So I've learned a lot. But one thing I learned is, in one of the festivals they said practice an old song, a new song, and some exercises. So I picked Pachelbel because I learned it with my instructor a while ago, and I couldn't in the left hand get the tenths.
Okay.
Like I had to seriously think about it. But this summer when I redid it,
You could.
I didn't have to think as hard.
Yes. Oh, yes, it's wonderful revisiting old materials. This is why that that playthrough book that I talk about, that I never remember what I try and call it, but having all your favorite pieces and something that you can revisit is great, because it gives you that powerful feeling of like, this was hard last time, I can do this now. So that's great.
Yeah.
And that's great advice, a new piece, an old piece, and some exercises. That's really lovely. Thank you. Brilliant.
And your concert was great. It was amazing.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I am going to share that with some other videos finally somewhere else on the 11th, on the 12th of September. So I'll put that online, so anybody who didn't see it, I'll share the rest with a few extras online. But thank you. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Ethna, and then Jean, if I may.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So, yeah, my harp highlight. Well, first of all, I am sharing my harp room with a crib. You see it up there? Because my daughter's selling her house, and they've sort of kind of taken up residence here. So that's kind of fun, though, to have my harp room here. I'll give up part of my harp room. And let's see, I went to Somerset, and I also did an Ailey Robertson festival, and that was a lot of fun. And I'm still working really hard on my Couch to 5K.
Amazing.
And have pretty much gotten a hold of the If the Wren Could, is that how was this called? I just called the Wren.
Yeah, that's fine. If the Wren Can, yeah. The left hand one. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, great.
And so, and what else? I was working on an Erilyn Jones piece.
Lovely.
And it's called Every Single Breath. It's so pretty. So anyway.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
Lovely.
Got to grips with some stuff over the summer by the sound of it, which is really
right. And I signed up for an Irish harp kind of like series for the fall with Grania Hambley, and so that's exciting. Actually, I signed up for both her intermediate or her beginners and intermediate course at the same time, because I have no reference for this kind of music at all. And so she said, if you pay like an extra supplement, you can come to she gives a lecture first for the first half an hour or 45 minutes, all about the history. And then she'll teach a piece to the beginners. Nice. Right. And I'm like, if I paid the rest of it, can I come to both? Because that way I can have simple repertoire and just really be
able to play it, which is lovely, easily.
Yeah. So I'm doing two at the same time. So that should be fun.
Yeah.
And, so that's my high.
Brilliant. It sounds very exciting. Well, congratulations on getting to grips with some pieces and your next adventures. It sounds fabulous.
Right. And then, of course, I've got all my Shelley stuff that I want to eventually master, and especially all those modes pieces, and then the Patreon pieces and the Flourishing Harpist pieces. And I'm going to try not to load myself up with more, because I'm really good at buying everything I see online.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I've got a million exercise books and yeah, all this
Yeah,
rep that's just itching to be
sometimes we have to kind
tackled.
of close the book on that, don't we, and just use what we've got, because I know that I used to obsessively just buy every new book that came out, and I had to rein it in because it became a filing nightmare if nothing else.
Right.
But
Right.
no, I mean,
It's that too, but it's also, it's like, I'm never going to learn what I have if
Yeah.
I keep piling it on. So I'm trying to make myself step back and
what I
pack
would
away.
say, one thing I will say, and a positive about that, is that if you've bought lots and lots of things and you've never got around to them, because you are doing new things all the time, and you are expanding what you can do and developing as a musician, as a harpist, sorry, all the time, and a musician, but you're a musician anyway, so that's why I just sidestepped that. But the books that you have bought that you haven't visited, one day you'll go to the shelf and you'll be like, oh, I wonder what this book's like. And just like we said about Lisa going back to a book, Peter Pachelbel, and finding the 10th easy, you go, I can sight read these now. So things that you're buying, you might have bought like 2 months ago that look tricky, in 2 months more time, you might find you can just enjoy sight reading them. So they will come in handy one day, either way, I promise. I think I probably used everything on my shelf at some point, even though it's ridiculous over there.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to put the brakes on it so that I can really address
down and,
what I do have.
Yeah, good plan. And I'm going to talk to you about hedgehogs in a minute. Thank you. Thank you, Edna. Okay, brilliant. Jean, I'll come to you and then I come to Caroline.
Okay. I have had not much happening with the harp on the very last day of Somerset, which I did attend, and I loved it. And I have to say, though, Shelley, a lot of people are not as good a teacher as you are. And I know I say that a lot. I always enjoy Somerset, and I love it, and I look forward to it. But I loved your classes. Not that I can do anything with pop or anything like that yet, but I will. Yes, but anyway, but on the last day, though, I met my husband outside. We have 2 dogs. He was taking them out. I said, "Oh, just take one. I'll be out and meet you in a minute when I finish my Sunday afternoon add-on." And we ended up getting in a tangle, kind of going down a steep hill, and I fell and broke my wrist. So I have not been able to play. This is the dog in question. She's very cute, very volatile. She's a Labradoodle, but I'm so sorry. So then I've just been trying to get busy on some of Shelley's stuff, proofreading, and not feel sorry for myself. This is really not that terrible, and I did start to play some, and I played some the last few days, and it's getting there. I can't do an octave, but I can. I'm getting there, and it is amazing how fast the muscle tone and just the facility falls away if you don't keep at it. Yeah. So if you break something, keep playing with whatever you can play with. As the email to Shelley that the left hand Ren piece might become a reality for me. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad that's about. So I'm happy. I will be back. Oh, a fun thing. Yeah. I'm buying a Marini bass lap harp, which is 28 strings down to low F. I'm picking it up. I live about an hour from the Marinis, and so I've been to their workshop, several times in their home. Their living room is their showroom kind of, and they're such nice people, and so I'm going to get it in the next couple of days. That's very exciting, and that's the high. Well, that's the high combined with the fact that you're getting back to being able to play with that hand again as well. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jean. Well, it's great to see you here. Thank you. And I have had your emails. I accepted the Dropbox today, tonight. So I will have it, but I haven't managed to peek at it yet. But thank you. It's really, we're all going to appreciate it. Thank you. Marvelous. Brilliant. Caroline, may I come to you and then Mary for a summer holiday, a summer. It may not be summer for you, of course, depending on where you are. I realize this. A July-August highlight. Caroline, yes. And then Mary.
I'll mute myself to say something. I think my harp highlight was going to Keziah Thomas's harp retreat, which was postponed from last July. So she held it this July. And well, several things about that were a highlight, actually. One was going to Charney Manor, which is in Oxfordshire. It's just a lovely, lovely, relaxing place. And to be with other harpists in a not too scary environment, which was really nice. And I met Jackie there. Jackie, yes. Yeah. We discovered that we live not all that far from each other, and so that was really lovely to meet Jackie there. I mean, we didn't travel together because we were both paranoid about
you might be able to play together now.
Well, yeah, maybe, yes. But anyway, so that was really nice as well, meeting Jackie. But the real highlight I think was on the Saturday night we were all invited to do a party piece, and you know, people had all these absolutely amazing things they were going to play, and as some of you will know, I've got over lockdown I got quite interested in reading poetry or speaking poetry and playing the harp at the same time, and I was thinking of what could I do, and I wanted something that was not as kind of sad as the ones that I'd already done, and I remember this poem by Roger McGough called At Lunchtime, which, if you don't know, it's a very funny poem, but a bit risque. And I was wondering whether to do it or not, especially compared with all these sort of, you know, people playing Bach and all these wonderful kind of symphonies, and you know, Keziah's Spring and all the rest of it. And I wasn't sure whether to do it or not. Anyway, encouraged by Ethna, who said, just go for it.
Brilliant, well done, Ethna.
I did it, and yeah, it was fantastic because it was it was about 10 o'clock at night by the time I got to do my bit. So I think although everybody had a lovely time listening to all this absolutely wonderful music, you know, by 10 o'clock and a few glasses of wine, I think everybody was a bit ready for something else. So I did my poem, and and it made everybody laugh.
Congratulations!
It was really good fun. Yes. Yeah. So definitely going to do more of that.
Yeah, bravo. And you have to come to Edinburgh and do it.
Of course, yes. Why limit myself to Charney Manor and 12 people or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. And that was fun because, again, it was doing something live, you know, whereas most of the playing and stuff that we've done, you know, I've only ever, you know, and those previous poems I only did on, did recordings. So, you know, actually doing it to a room of people is quite different, isn't it?
And in many respects, of course, you've done certainly in your early learning, you did more performing to others than perhaps a lot of people do early on in their playing, because of the way that you learned to start with. But you're right, you now haven't necessarily done any playing out until now, so that becomes
no, that's right. And I always remember, to that very point, Shelley, I always remember you saying, again, this is an amazing thing about Startup, isn't it, and learning with your videos and everything. Remember when we went to the Botanical Gardens, the Startup was the first time, and you've written the piece for us, and then we all went to play it. We'd never met.
No, it was amazing.
And then you counted us in, and we all started at the same time, and you were even more amazed than we were.
I was. Yeah, it's amazing because you learned to play and play to me counting in. You actually came in at the same time. It was
So yes, interesting how one's harping career
yes, it's a path, but it's a good one, I hope. Brilliant. Congratulations. Thank you, Caroline, for sharing that. It was bravo.
Thank you.
Mary, may we hear your summer highlight, and then I will come to Jill, please.
I've got more than one. Am I allowed to say about four? Well, in June I had friends not staying with us, staying in Pembrokeshire, and they wanted to go to the Botanical Gardens.
Lovely.
So we went, and I got a wheelchair for my husband, And as we were going round the glass house, I was showing them all the places where we played harp.
Lovely. I love it.
Yeah.
This is where we played harp, and this is where we
this is where we did it, but we're not doing it this year.
Brilliant.
And then in June and July, a group which I belong to, we managed to all meet up in 12 of us in this ginormous hall. 2-meter space in all the doors and windows open.
Right.
But the highlight was last Wednesday when I put on a harp party.
Woohoo!
And there were 5 of us girls playing harps in my lounge.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, and it was absolutely super. And Jill was one of the people who was.
Oh, that must have been really nice.
So, you know, we're going to have another one probably in October. So
good idea. Lovely. Oh, well done. That's great. Those are all fabulous highs. Thank you for sharing. Brilliant. Well, I know what one of Jill's highs is going to be then now. So Jill, and then I'll come to Kate, if I may.
Okay, yeah, that was my highlight, my one and only highlight. I haven't done any festivals, but we had a lovely time in Mary's, and we actually watched one of the concerts from Glaisbury Summer School in the afternoon.
Wonderful.
So that was really nice, but it was just nice to get together to play.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it must be amazing.
We just, I don't know, we must have picked about 15 songs, I think, and just played them together. And that was lovely. And Gwenda was one of them as well.
Well, that's great. Well, that's a lovely harp highlight. Yeah.
That's it. And I'm just waiting for Edinburgh. I
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Cool. Well, and any other group playing that might come about, Jill?
Yes, sure. Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Good. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, indeed. May I come to you, Kate, and then I'm going to come to Jane. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm not sure I have any highlights. I think it's been a bit too hectic for harp playing recently. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I know why, don't I?
Yes.
Yes. But well, we will find some harp highs for you in September.
We will when things have calmed down a bit.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, bless you. But you've managed the move. You're in a different room.
Yeah, I'm in a different room.
Yeah, well done. Okay, well, that can be your highlight. You made it.
Yeah, we've made it. And I've got a harp here. I'm not sure how I'm going to get the big one up the stairs, but we'll see.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm glad you've done the move, Kate, and that's great.
Yeah.
In the autumn then.
Yeah, probably.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, Jane, I'll come to you, and then Alison, and then Linda. I've gone around this way this time, so that's why. Okay, so Jane.
Well, I was at 3 festivals. I see in almost every other video Ethna.
Ah, fabulous.
Same thing, but now Andrew Lawrence King is finally getting around to restringing the Welsh triple.
It's gonna come.
And so after that, I maybe finally, after over a year, be able to get it from Tallinn to Finland.
Amazing. That's very exciting, because I remember your email and our brief discussions in the past about this, and it's been a long time, because it was that's fantastic. Oh, well, that's very exciting. Have you got an ETA, an estimated time for it to arrive?
He's going to start restringing it. I just paid for the strings. That's my rent.
Yeah.
So,
that's quite a lot of rent for a Welsh triple. Yeah.
So
great. Oh, marvelous. Oh, well, I look forward to hearing. I hope, will you let us meet it when it arrives?
Definitely.
Sure. Okay, brilliant. We'll look forward to that. That's a great high. Thank you, Jane. Marvelous. Alison, may I come to you then, please?
Hi.
Hi.
I don't have any actual events either. We've been sort of keeping our heads down still.
Yeah.
But I suppose my high has been sort of refocusing. All the stuff that I've learned has encouraged me to try and do more and more difficult things. And then I've been looking at my stuff and I thought, actually, doing the simple versions and doing things that were older, but doing them better suits me a lot better because I've not got exams or anything. It doesn't matter, just for myself. So I've been sort of focusing back on the sort of basic version of things and things that I've done in the past, and really enjoying getting a better sound out of them. So I'm really happy.
Fabulous. That's
my summer thing. Yeah,
that's brilliant. And I mentioned this, I mean, with the Seren Vach piece, didn't I? And I said about this, you know, that it's so much more powerful to play a single melody and a bass line with beautiful phrasing than it is to play lots of notes with hesitations and no soul. So I think that's a really a wonderful sort of happening. I mean, I with Start Harp and things, I'm constantly pushing more ideas into the sort of fold, but we have to very much remember the power of simplicity and then playing right where we are at any given time as well. In fact, which is why, Lisa, I loved, I'm going to nick it, what you said about the old piece, new piece exercises. I think that absolutely sums up how we need to be behaving at all times, because, or not, you might never want to stretch yourself, but I think this idea of, to do all stuff that's just out of reach is demoralizing. It's like, we need to make sure that we are nurturing our souls by playing music that we can play easily, with great pleasure and joy, and be able to make really nice sound with. And then we might, and then have, I always try and do the hardest thing in my practice after I've warmed up, so that I'm fresh, I'm kind of more sanguine about what I'm up to, I've warmed up my fingers, I do the tricky thing, and then I try and play the things that I can, that I find easier when my brain's more tired, my brain and fingers are more tired, and it's kind of a similar thing in a way, is that it's like rewarding yourself and playing things beautifully that aren't so complicated. Yeah, that's brilliant, Alison. Thank you, and thank you for sharing that, because it's such an important message, and I don't say it enough, so thank you. It's brilliant.
Every little thing that you learn makes such a difference to going back to something that I was doing a year ago. It's just different now. It's great.
Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, thank you, Alison. I think that's a fabulous harp bite. Thank you, Linda. Last but not least. Oh, we can't hear you yet. You unmuted, I thought. Hang on, let me invite you. It's flashed up.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes.
Hello.
Well, I've had a very quiet summer because of not being so well, and when I am well, I try and do the garden. But I allowed myself to join the Early Irish Harp Festival run by Siobhan Armstrong.
Lovely.
And I know Siobhan because she's been to Edinburgh twice, and she's a great lady. And what was really interesting was two things. One was exactly the point that you were saying. They were trying to find the source of the music, early Irish music.
Okay.
So they were talking about historical recordings and so on. And then they were going very much following the traditional lines. Who lived where? Who knew each other?
Yes.
How did these nuances come about?
Yeah.
And also, they didn't just concentrate on harpists. They looked at singers, they looked at a piper, etc., all the different ways of getting the nuances.
Yes.
So that was the first one.
Very interesting.
And echoing what you said, I can distinctly remember Siobhan saying at one point, you don't just play, if she said, in fact, for me, triplets do not exist. It's how you play them, the subtlety of the notes and getting the nuances in.
Yeah.
And then the second really interesting thing was a lady called Sylvia Crawford, who I'm sure you all know, but I don't.
Yeah, I do know
And
that. I don't quite know why right now. I'm waiting to hear.
And she was so intrigued about Bunting's writing down of the early Irish harp music. And I think she's come to the conclusion that he didn't understand about pentatonic scales.
Okay.
And so she started off by teaching us pentatonic scales, which I just know 5 notes. But if you do 5 notes and then alter the starting note of those 5 notes, and then you move up to another key and do that, there are about 25 different scales you can work in.
Yeah.
By now she'd pretty well lost me, but I've got it all written down.
That's fantastic.
But Bunting didn't understand that, and therefore that's why he had such difficulty writing down the music as he heard it. He didn't understand the whole historical approach of how the early Irish harp players played. It's fascinating, and the really lovely thing about that was expensive for 5 days, but if you chose the full course as opposed to just 2 or 3 things, it's available to you to the end of December. 6
Lovely.
months, every single thing.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah.
So the minute the clocks change, then I'm going straight back to that festival and redoing
Yes,
everything.
okay. Good plan. Yes, which is Ethna, the 31st of October. It's Halloween because you asked me what it was. Okay. Oh well, that's brilliant. Well, that's a wonderful harp hike, and it's so great to find something new that excites us as well. So it sounds like it's been a really stimulating, exciting course. So
And I found you, Shelley, as well.
well, yes, it's been lovely to find you too. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. Okay, marvelous. Thank you. Well, it was lovely to hear everything that you guys have been up to, and hopefully, I'm sure, will have inspired some of us to do other harp courses next summer and things like that as well. And for those of you that didn't feel you had a harp high, we're going to find one this autumn, or this the next 3 months. So don't worry, it's fine, it's all good. So I've got if there's any other questions to come up, please ask me. But Ethna, you asked me about dates, and well, you asked me very specifically about some courses. So I'm going to talk about that now.
And Sally, can you also save time to tell us about the 11th and 12th of September?
Yes, I definitely can. Where are we? 13 minutes past. Okay, right. So I'm just getting out this. I seem to have written things on. Right. Okay. What did I write this for this session? That's that one. Okay. The amount of time I spent on scheduling has been unbelievable. Right. Okay. So Edna said to me, for the Q&A, could you provide us with the days of the week, specific times, which hours for the fall and the spring courses, except for the start harp courses. So the way it's running this autumn is that I know you said without a start harp, but I shall mention it because there will be some people doing start harp. Start harp will remain on Sunday nights, which is 8 until 9 p.m. British time, and then it will be probably 2 hours when we do our homework feedback, but you can drop in at different times depending on which level you're doing. The Monday nights are Monday nights for me, so 8 p.m. British time are when Pop and Modes will be running. They will be running on alternate nights. If you want to know which alternate nights, I can tell you.
Yeah, so the modes, because I think I'm going to do the retake of that.
Brilliant. Okay, then.
Well, are you going to, let me ask you a question. When you do the retake of the modes thing, are you going to teach us how to do those pieces?
So you get all the videos that you've had before. They'll just come into your inbox like they did previously. But anything that I hadn't finished, like the play along videos, will come in for you this time. The handout will come in. I don't think I did the handouts last time. I don't usually in the first run. So you'll get handouts this time. And then we'll do a live session, which I'm going to do various different things. So with Pop, we've already done this where we did like workshops and things. But with the modes, we'll do some Q&A and we'll do some tasks as well together related to what's come up the week before.
So it's related to the modes, not to the pieces.
It'll be both. It will be both because it will be related to the course itself. So some of it will be to do with modes, and some of it will be to do with the actual pieces that we learn within the course. So the ones.
Okay, and when is that particular one?
Those will be Monday nights, and then it's my time, so 8 p.m. British time. So it'll be 8 till 9 or 8 till 9:30, depending on which.
And when does that start?
That starts on. So these will start on officially on the 27th of September, which is a Monday. And for that one, I'm going to do a welcome meet and greet for Pop and Modes simultaneously on the 27th. And then after that, the Modes one will start on the 11th of October, the live sessions, and then all be every other week. So actually, for Modes, this is really easy actually for Modes. For Modes, from the 27th onwards, you will come every other week live, and then you'll get that material that you've already had, but with a few add-ons that didn't quite make it in. There's a couple of historical videos to go in, and then there's the 7 play-alongs, and there's the handouts that will come in for that.
Okay.
And then, sorry,
yeah. Yeah. And so then that stops when?
I think the very last one is... Last live one is quite late to Christmas. It's the 20th of December, the last live modes one. But obviously, if you can't make it, it's the same thing as before. You can catch the replays as well.
Okay, yeah, because I've got something going on Mondays until 12:15 my time, which would be 8:15 your time.
Okay.
Depending on when the time change happens.
Yeah, so the time change is the 31st of October.
And then what is that going to mean for me? So right now, if it's 8 o'clock for you, is 12 for me.
So you're in.
I'm going forward too. Wait, I'm falling back.
Yeah, we all fall back, but you tend to do it 2 weeks after us or something, or a week after us. or week before. There's like a 2-week window where it gets really confusing, and then it goes back to as it was.
Okay, all right.
And basically, if you just at that point use a time converter or put it into if your phone automatically does it, then it's quite good to put the meeting into your phone. Then your phone just puts it in the right place if you have a smartphone.
Right. So any Monday class, I'll probably be a little bit late too. Anyway,
that's fine. If I know you're going to be late, I'll keep an eye out for you as best I can. Yeah, that's fine. And then for those of you who are interested in pop, it fits in the opposite way. So we'll have the meet and greet on the 27th, and then starting from and this will all be in your course anyway, but starting from the 4th, you'll go on alternate nights. And then so that's Pop Modes, Start Harp, and then Flourishing Harpist will be Wednesday at 8 p.m. British time. For the rest of the autumn. And while I'm on courses, Mary, you asked me something about this Patreon. So you don't, if you're in Patreon and you're staying in tier 3, if you're staying in tier 4, sorry, then you will continue just to get the immersions rolling over. So if you want to stop them, obviously you can change your subscription. If you want to keep coming, then you don't have to do anything. They just keep going round. I'm in the process of making the next 12 months. So if you've got any requests, I know we've talked about things like an exercise one and various things. I will put it out in Patreon Facebook page. I will put out a provisional list so you can do what you did last time, which was to vote for them. I think that worked very well. And is there anything else? The reason I've given you the full year of dates is because in the past I've always run each course each term, and I'm not going to do that in the next 12 or 18 months, whatever it is. So I've given it to you. So if any of you are thinking, oh, I'll do Flourishing Harpist when Shelley does it in the spring, I'm actually going to do it this September and then next September. And so I just wanted to make
sure. And when does that start? September what?
This starts on September the 19th, which is a Sunday. Yeah.
And then in the spring, what's happening?
So in the spring, I'm not doing, I'm not running Flourishing Harpist. Flourishing Harpist comes in again in the following autumn, fall of 2022. So it won't run for 12 months. Which is it's a great course. It's just that I think that it's better if I run it once a year, because otherwise, well, it just seems to be working out well for the Start Harpists to do all the 3 and then move to Flourishing Harpist. So yeah, So yeah, instead comes in the ones that we've talked about, like Play Your Harp Out, performance class. That's going to come in the be on the Wednesday nights instead in the spring.
Oh wait a minute, it's going to be on Wednesdays, because it said earlier on something you sent us it was going to be on Mondays.
I think that will. I hope I haven't made a mistake on that. But if I have, I'm sorry. But it's the ones we just talked about, the pop and modes, that are going to be on Mondays, and then Play Your Harp Out and performance class will be on whatever I just said, Wednesdays. Yeah. If I've made a mistake there and you need to change it, just let me know and I can sort that out for you. But as
okay, because I think in the literature that you originally sent us, you said it was going to be on Mondays.
Right. I must have made a mistake if that's the case, because
okay, because that's taking the place of Flourishing Harpist then.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Okay, so then that would be again at 8 p.m. your time.
That's right. Yeah.
And that starts January. Early on.
January, I think the 10th, isn't it, or something? Don't quote me on that because I didn't check. Let me have a look. January. This is all in the overview I've given you guys. So yeah, January 10th. Yeah, and then the performance class starts on the 28th of February. And then pop and modes then will be on the Wednesday nights in the summer. So I will add them all. I will add all those weekdays of the week to the sales pages on my website. Yeah. I just haven't quite got there.
Okay.
Brilliant. Right, may I tell you something else exciting now as well?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So may I show you, if I can screen share again? I'm really late announcing this. There's just been so much going on. But the Summer Harp, the Botanic Gardens Festival that usually happens hasn't happened for 2 years in a row now, but I'm going to run it online again. And I thought I'd share it with you first. And here's what you want to know. Who's got a hedgehog? Where was your hedgehog? I know that you just waved at me. Okay, so I have written a musical story called Henrietta's Dream about the hedgehog. And so we have a story and a piece and an ensemble piece called Henrietta's Dream. And you'll get to hear it. I would love to invite those of you that have one to come and do a little Zoom thing where we all trot them along and do some things. I'm not sure I'm going to get there in time, but if I do, you might just suddenly get a random email going, could you be around at this time? but that may not happen this time. We have to do it later. But basically, there's a story that you'll be able to learn and do with your hedgehogs if you want to. And there's lots of other things going on. Where shall I show you? I'll show you the list actually. So there's going to be lots of taster classes. So they are going to be stuff from my courses, a lot of the things, but I will teach them slightly differently. I know I will. So there's going to be 15-minute or so taster classes, 6 of those. There's going to be the premiere of the Henrietta the Hedgehog story. I'm launching my new album, which is Alone Together, which are basically all the tunes that I wrote for most of you guys last year while we were in lockdown, or well, still sort of are, you know what I mean. There's going to be a Make Your Own Harp mask, which is because when I do this in person, we try and engage all ages, so that's why that's there. There's going to be the hands not on harps. If you've got any friends who want to learn the harp, they can come along and do it with us using these downloads. I think they're even free, of Pretend Harps. There's a video that teaches you to like some harp foundation technique stuff, and they get to play a tune using the device. And there's going to be a mini concert. I'm going to put I haven't done it yet, but all the virtual ensemble videos are going to go together and go out as a mini concert at 8 o'clock on the first day, 8 o'clock British time. Then there's going to be an extra dynamic harps because there'll be one at the beginning of the month where we'll learn the Henrietta's dream, the hedgehog's dream. The hedgehog falls asleep in the bottom of the harp to hibernate, and here's the little girl playing her music, and so it's what the hedgehog listens to while she's hibernating. And then we're going to do, I'm going to do some replays of stuff from last year as well the next day. And then there's the immersion class, which lots of you subscribe to anyway, where we're going to learn Henrietta's dream as a solo, exploring some of these 50, I'm going to write out, haven't done them all yet, 50 different ways to play a chord. In a way, it's kind of like to play any chord. I'm just using C as the easiest thing that we can springboard off from. And then I'm going to premiere, well, some of you have seen a lot of the material before, but the Somerset concert, along with, I think, 3 or 4 other videos, I'm putting together as a concert to share at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. So there we are. So that's what's going on. Most of it's free. The only thing you have to pay for is the immersion. You basically just need to, when you get the email out, it's really simple. You need to be on my email list. You need to subscribe to the Facebook page. And then sign up to the immersion if you want to do that. And the ensemble session on the Saturday, where we're going to do Henrietta's Dream, we're going to do it as an ensemble version, and then we'll do it as a solo on the Sunday. And then you can watch the video with the story in if anybody wants to do storytelling with their harp. So there we are. That's what's going on. I'm going to get it out tonight. It's nearly ready. It's been a bit of a mission, but it's nearly ready. I'm actually just waiting for a Facebook banner to come through from my graphic designer, but yeah. So there we are. That was my exciting news. And if you've got any questions about that, please do. Mary says, it's a sock. I don't know what that is. I'll find out about that in a minute. Mary says, I have another question. So yeah, Mary, go for it. Oh, that's a sock. Cool.
You just, okay, I don't know about socks. A bit ago, you said you discovered how to play more than one note of harmonics by putting your left hand
you're gonna know the trick. Yeah.
I'm playing with your right hand. Now, how do you play the harmonics with your left hand? What do you do with your right hand?
So I have to remember how I did it. Basically, like, and when we make a harmonic, we find the halfway point, don't we? And then we touch the string and it makes a sound. And Edmar just discovered that if you got his hands at the right angle, you can get chords. And I've only tried it once, and now I'm showing you. So I just experimented a little bit with my hand. I'm using the hand flat, and I'm using the little finger. And I just experimented with what angle I had to use to because if you think the harmonic curve changes, you have to kind of get the angle right so that you hit the middle point. And then it's the same as when you're doing an ordinary harmonic. You have to get the timing exactly right. So you have to, as you go to play the string, which I'm just doing like in a normal chord manner in the right, I'm just doing that in the right at the moment, you have to release the left as if it were like a normal harmonic or a single harmonic. So the timing is everything. So you have to let go as you do it. You have to be making your pluck, but then removing. And as I say, I'm not demoing this beautifully because I tried it the day he showed me, and now I'm showing you. And that's it. So I'm sure you will hear it in a piece from me sometime soon, though, because it's very cool, isn't it? And I'm assuming you can, play around and actually get chords. Yeah, there's a proper chord there, but the timing is absolutely everything. Yeah. So flat hand, experimenting with the angle, and then just working on the timing for it. Kate says your Hedrick is home, you may need another for work. Also, can I book in for Start Harp 3 in January? I'd wait till nearer the time, Alison. As you're on Patreon, you'll get I want to always make sure I let you guys know first. I do limit numbers on the Start Harp courses and Flourishing Harpists because of the feedback. But I'll make sure that you get a heads up first. But yeah, I would save your pennies in your bank account for you until the close to the time. Anything else? Hedgehog, says Alison. I must have missed this. Yeah, can somebody wave a hedgehog so that Alison can see? Okay, it's for dusting your harps. Basically, I said that it's good to have something that you can, dust the mechanism of your harp with. And Ethna went out and found the coolest brush we've ever seen. Look, there we are, beautiful demonstration, Lisa, thank you. But it's also, its nose, mine isn't in here because you can imagine why mine's not in here. Guess who loves it in my household? But its nose will make little, you can use its nose to make little effects. You can use its feet to make effects. You can do pitch sliding with its nose, and you can make the brush sound on the bass. So yeah, it's inspired a whole story. So that's what that's about. Have I missed anything else? Any other questions before we finish off tonight? I'm just quickly going through these things here. Yeah, okay, Jean wants to say something. Yeah, go for it.
I don't know what to sign up for in September. Should I do Flourishing Harpist because you're only doing it once per year?
If you would like to do Flourishing Harpist and you don't want to wait till next September, then yes, because I mean, the thing about Flourishing Harpist is it does go on from Start Harp 3, but it works at all levels, because when I first ran it, I kind of just embraced everybody, didn't I, Jill, from the ensemble, from my one-to-one ensemble as well. So it was meant to be a level 4, and it is a level 4, but I also made it very much work for everybody because of lockdown and everything. I wanted to kind of catch in everybody that sort of needed it. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is, if you feel you're not ready for it, I promise you are, because it works at multi-levels, and I think it's my best course. Yeah, so Jill says it's amazing course. I really think it's my best course. So yeah,
absolutely amazing course. It
Good.
Really is.
Yeah,
the best. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I feel it's the best course. Although you've not done Start Harp, so but I do still think Start Harp's amazing for getting us from not playing to playing. But I do think that Flourishing Harpist is my best course. Yeah, cool.
Terrific.
Oh, but some of you are going. I am about to stop. Bye-bye. Thank you. Yes, Start Harp is amazing too, says Caroline. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay. Anything else before I go? No. Okay, make sure you're on my mailing list for the little mini harp weekend thing that's going to take place anyway, because there's going to be some fun freebies in there, basically. Yeah, cool. And come to the concert if you can. That would be amazing. Come and cheer me on. Fab. Okay, I shall leave you in peace. I finished on time. I started on time and I finished on time. See, the break has done me good. It's really amazing to see you all. Thank you very much, and I look forward to our adventures through the autumn together. I'm very, very excited about everything we've got coming up, because it's a busy term, and it will keep us going through till Christmas, which is exciting too. So thank you. I shall let's unmute and say bye-bye together, and to anyone watching the replay as well. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you.